morning, everyone, and welcome to Today at the Races. I tell you, great card ahead of us. I've got Dan Illman with the Daily Racing Form with me this morning. 5 stakes, Pot of Gold Stakes Day. Big day yesterday for Jamie Rodriguez. That was phenomenal. Jamie Ness right alongside. Dan, welcome to the show. What'd you think?
Rodriguez 7. It was nice of him to let someone else win the last race. He didn't have a mount.
Started off 5 for 5, and I texted you after the first race. A horse that I was kind of against for Ness and Rodriguez, and the horse chases and goes by, a horse that I didn't think was ever going to pass anybody. I said, that's it. I'm not going against him the rest of the day or ever again. And I tell you what, I look pretty good with that statement. But let's take a look real quick at the track. We've got a beautiful day in store here in Laurel, Maryland at lovely Laurel Park. Fast track, sunny skies. It's a partly cloudy. I say partly sunny, Dan. 46 degrees. We do have a wind, though. A tailwind down the backstretch. We're going to be running into a headwind right now through the stretch. But a really good card on tap. 10 races, 5 stakes. I think we can get right into the action. We have to go into anything else? We're good.
We're good.
Let's look. We're going to kick the card off. Early pick 5. Don't forget 12% takeout in this early pick 5. We have an early pick 5 and a late pick 5 at Laurel Park every day. Great bet. Make sure you jump in. But first race, going to get you started. We're going to roll through these first 5 or 6 races. We kind of get cranking with the stakes. But beaten claimers, 25 to 20. These are the 4-year-olds and up. Never won 2.
I like the 6 in here, and we do have a stat for trainer Marilyn McMullen regarding the number 6 federal offense. It's a limited stat, but it's obviously positive. Past 3 years, coming back off a layoff of 2 months or greater on dirt, 3 for 7, 43%, $7.74 ROI. And going into the DRF formulator statistics, I wanted to look up the winners of these races. One of them was beaten 17 lengths in the prior start. One was beaten 13. One was beaten 45 lengths. Now, you might look at this horse and say, well, the margin of defeat is enlarging because the race was declared a no contest. Right. Oh, no, you would be wrong, because this horse didn't run very well in that spot. Yeah. Caught up in a pace duel in between horses, was basically beaten at a half mile. This horse was going to beat 20 lengths, whether the gate moved or not. I like that they gave this horse time after the race, and when he can sit off paces that are not fast, he's okay. I think he'll be in good position.
Agreed. I like his draw with the speed of Street Hustle just to his inside. I think Forest Boys will get this guy to relax, grind it out. You talked about the last race. No real excuse. I mean, he was in between horses. It kind of fried him. He backed up. Dance 6-7-4-1. Looks like to me Icy Minister might be the most reliable, sustainable late runner in here.
Got a setup last time out, and he is the best closer in the race. He's also 1 for 18. How reliable is he? He was odds on last time out, but he was beaten by a horse that was in sharp form, Aristocat. He'll be running on at the end of this race, and if the 5 and the 6 hook up, he's probably the most likely winner. Do keep an eye on Fra Fram, though. This is a horse that has run some decent races going long in the past. This barn generally does okay sprinter out. I thought the last race was okay on a hard chase. Double dropping in class, facing multiple winners last time, and against a non-winner's a 2-life field here.
A trainer, too, known at a little bit of a price. You know, you don't want to leave a horse like that. Fra Fram, he tries.
He tries.
He does try. 6-7-4-1 for both of us to get you started in race 1 on this Saturday card. Pot of Gold Stakes Saturday here at Laurel Park. Race 2, we have a scratch in the 1 Targe. Starter allowance, fillies and mares of the nickel variety, right?
Yeah. It is of the nickel variety, and you have a pick 4.
I do, Dan. Let's get you started. $24. We hit one yesterday. I think we basically turned it into a 6-5 shot, but we hit it. 3 deep to get you going. 2, 6, and 7. Targe, some of that speed comes out. I do think, you know, if you're going to lay one more price in, Chalk Hill, if things get really heated, Mike could plot up for a piece in there. Race 3, I go 2 deep with the 2 and the 4. Working video for start with a bang. Race 4, 4 deep. 3, 7, 8, 9. This is a 2 other than optional. Very competitive race. Deep field, some flow, some horses that can make that move from just off of it. Nobody with that kind of out of the clouds kind of style. We'll see how race 4 develops. Race 5, I'm going to wrap it up. Looks like the 2 obvious horses, Award Wanted and the 3 response time, $24.
Then again, sometimes better short price than a long face,
you got that
as
right.
they say. So let's try to make a little bit more, but again, you weren't ripping them up yesterday.
No, we weren't tearing the tickets up. We didn't really have anything huge. Let's take a look at this. You know, you're going to a mile.
Yeah.
A couple of these horses just, you know, Shackleford County, I know you really like. 0 for 3 at the distance. Sell me on this 8-year-old mare.
I'll sell you on this 8-year-old
Okay.
mare. Targe, that's a huge scratch because that horse has speed. Shackleford County is bound to show stretch out speed. And while Shackleford County is 0 for 3 in the distance, if you go to your DRF formulator, lifetime past performance is shameless plug. This horse won at 1.16 back in 2020 at Churchill Downs. She is a pretty big, tough mare. She weighs in at over 1,100 pounds if you take a look at the weights here at Laurel Park. I think she has it in her to get this distance with the right trip, and with Targe out, I think she's going to be forwardly placed and right in the thick of things when they turn to the long stretch.
She just might be a little bit quicker than Watch Your Tone as well. And the one thing I've liked with Shackleford County, when she gets involved and gets hooked, she's going to battle you, tooth and nail all the way to the wire. She's a neck away from being perfect here over this racetrack. Dulce Guerra came back, I think, stretching out, ran a big race. I lean a little bit with the 7, Watch Your Tone. Maybe think she's run against a little bit better. Lacey's got this one in good form, scratched out of a tougher field. Lean on E. Late rider change. Dexter Haddock is going to be the rider for the 2. Lean on E. A proven router is what I like. Finally got back to a fast track last time. And a little stat for this trainer. The last couple years, second off the claim, 31%, 4 for 13.
And the horse ran pretty well last time out, was involved with a 5-2 shot early, put that horse away, then went on to win first off of the claim for this barn. This horse could be part of the pace and could mess things up for me. Getting back to Watch Your Tone, not only is Watch Your Tone consistent and solid, very game filly. She tries hard every time. You'll get an honest effort from her.
Yeah, Rosado gets along with her well. He knows when to kind of push the button, and she usually responds. It'll be interesting. Those two could emerge in their own little match race, I think, from mid-turn. We'll see. Race 3, turning to race 3. Maryland Bred's allowance first level. I'm getting their stretching and back out, and they're going to try 2 turns, Dan.
They're going to try 2 turns for I'm getting there, and maybe that's a bit of a question mark. But I look at this field and I just don't see any speed. Usually I am against stretch outs. I don't love them. But I think if they have a strong pace advantage, you want to at least give them a chance, especially one that's been in pretty good form like I'm getting there. It is a big distance question. She has one going a 1-turn mile in the past. I think she's going to shake loose in here. And last time out, she tracked a sub-22-second opening quarter mile. She's not going to have to go as fast to make the lead in this spot.
Looks like the only threat to her early would be Betcha by Golly. I think she even might be a little bit quicker. She was in front of her last time on that off track. We'll see if Barbosa takes that initiative and tries to go on. I like a horse from the back of the pack. Here's that combo again. Jamie Ness and Jamie Rodriguez. The 2 start with a bang. Do we have that video? Yay, nay. If we do have a video, that's great, Phil. Thank you so much. Last time out, I was on this mare at almost 6-1. Rodriguez gave a good ride. She doesn't have much speed, was able to kind of cut the corner turning for home, saved every bit of ground. Unfortunately, thinking that seam might develop, it just quite doesn't here as they pass mid-stretch. We're going to go second off the claim here. Willing to the wire after that traffic. There you go, stymied at the 16th pole. Do you think going out to 2 turns with a cleaner trip, she could get it done?
She certainly could. My only concern, and we talked about this before we went on air, is that this mare has not shown a lot of speed recently. And if you believe that this race is going to be run at a snail's pace, she could be in trouble. Now, if you go back to her some of her running lines 5-6 starts back, she has shown the ability to stay close to slow paces. This is a rider's race. There's no hotter rider perhaps than Jamie Rodriguez. Perhaps. There's no hotter rider than Jamie Rodriguez on the circuit. I think this horse's form is dirtied up as well. In the Geisha, no chance. The race before that against She's a Rolling Stone, wet track that I don't think she loved. She's very interesting. You saw the trouble. She's a lot better than that last running line.
Yeah, I think, and Ness, here's another stat. I mean, we had a good one yesterday. It was nearly 50% on sprint to route off the claim. Second off the claim in Maryland with these dirt routers, 35%. 8 for 23, 15 for 23 in the money. Looks like Brittany's horses, similar styles. Game Stunk, She Is Whiskey. I think the 7 is a little bit more tactical than the 6.
I think Game Stonks is the kind of horse, though, however, that might want this distance more than some of the other horses in this field. I think this horse is more of a grinding style. Again, the lack of speed could work against her. She Is Whiskey seems to be a little bit more tactical. And last time out, good hard race on a hard chase against Mazel, a fast horse in good form.
Yeah, she looks the one. If she's going to make that attack, she might get the first run on the speeds, leaving that far turn. Let's turn to the 4th. Salty race right here. 2 other than going 6 furlongs. They all stay intact. It's a field of 9. Dan, you're going to key around the 4, HP Moon.
maybe more of a heart play than a head play as we take a look at Callie's Rainbow Pick 6. She's going to use the 1 and the 3 in the first leg. Then she'll go 4 deep in race number 6. 2, 5, 8, and 10. In race number 7, she has one of her 2 singles on this card. And I'm assuming that's going to be Nimitz class.
Yeah.
In race number 8, it's 2, 3, 4, and 7. She's going to spread in race number 9, and why not? The private terms this year is a war. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8. And in the last race, she's going with Backstreet Affair, a horse in very sharp form.
She sent a text not too long ago. She was like looking for some help, looking for a single. She throws Nimitz class singles Kieran in the nightcap and gets that ticket to a reasonable number. I mean, that's the tough part on days like this. Maybe not a slew of big prices, but you've got to kind of maybe click together those 4 9-2s.
That's the key. The key is if you can single 2 short prices, it's not bad if you can get 2 or 3 9-2s and one other with the 12% take it. You're going to get a good payout in here. It's worth it if you can get these 2 singles home. I like Callie's ticket. HP Moon, a little bit more of a heart than head play in here. HP Moon. This is a star-crossed horse if there ever was one. If you remember, Lacey took this one up to Saratoga for the debut. This horse was live. The horse identifier made a mistake, scratched the horse on the track. Okay, comes back, wins very impressively. Since then, it's been nothing but injury and frustration. Last time out, HP Moon ran okay. And we're going to have a video.
We can go to the video.
We can
Let's
go to the video
right now. Because we're going to concentrate on going to the lead and HP Moon.
Right, because HP Moon battles it out with Holy Synchronicity, who's also in this race down towards the inside. HP Moon puts Holy Synchronicity away. Going to the lead, got a good setup from the back of the pack. Is going to ease out and run him down. I'm interested in your thoughts. Watch HP Moon. He's looking at me now in the stands. Is this because he's losing focus? Is this because he's starting to feel maybe the effects of an enervating pace battle? Or is he just not right? I like that they're wheeling him back, short notice, third off the layoff.
Certainly to me would be promising, right? Shorter rest, and now 3 races in a row. And you saw, he prompted the pace in hand. He was doing it within himself. The issue here today in this race, it's a bigger field. That was a short field. To his inside is Baracho, very quick. Dr. Jeff, we don't know what we're going to get from this guy off time for first-time Brittany Russell. C's get degrees, is quick. It's sizzling time. I think this flow is going to be more demanding, and I think a horse like Holy Synchronicity, who you saw sent that day, will take back and try to make that run from off the pace. He's been kind of an in and outer. He ran okay with trouble a couple races back. I'm using him as a price play, and I think going the lead right back might have a better trip than he had last time.
That's the key. He might actually have a better flow in this race than he did last time out because the pace was contested but not exactly fast. There are some solid horses in here. We talked about keeping the edge before. What do you do with him off of a lengthy layoff? Before the long layoff, this horse was in very good form.
You go back. I mean, against Outkiss, it was a promising horse. I think it was Robbie Bales, a big effort. And Barbosa, who was on going to the lead, ends up here. We don't know. He said on the overnight he was not named on both, but still might have had an early tell to get on this horse, working just lights out at Fairhill. Interesting new face to this crowd. I go 8, 9, 3, 7, all over the map here in race number 4.
Can go so many different ways. You got a Brittany stat, Lasix on, 10 for 25 in 2023 with Lasix on. You've got a horse like Practical Way who got the better of a horse named His Incredible who came back to win. He's just won 7 of his last 10. He's incredible.
Exactly. Looked at some other handicapping sites. Practical Way, a good figure. This might be a little bit tougher group, but still moving in the right direction. You get Frankie Pennington at a square price in race number 4. Okay, race 5 starts our stakes action. The Conniver, 75,000. This is restricted, right, for the Maryland bred or Maryland sired. We've got a field of 8, and all the attention is going to be probably focused on the 1 award wanted and the 3 response time. I can't quite get past these 2. It doesn't look like you can either.
I can't, but the key to this race is can Street Loot still run? Because if Street Low can still run, she's going to be very, very tough. We're going to watch response time. Just look at the form Hammy Smith's got this one in right now. Just traveling comfortably, going on the turn last time out, eases out in the stretch. And these are good horses she's beating. We know Princess Kokachin can run. She's a multiple stakes winner. Chitara, who's, floundering in 4th right now. She's a stakes winner, and response time wins very easily. This race was at 5.5. She's won at 7 in the past. And most importantly, her tactical speed plays well in a race like this, and that she can either get to the front or sit second, and I just don't think the pace is going to be fast. But getting back to Street Loot, if she can still run, she's going to be very tough enough because you can easily excuse the last race where she was in against Response Time. It was her first race since July.
Yeah, she took play, and you see the short comment there, broke out, bumped, inside, and faded. So early adversity. She'll be put into the race early, I think, today with a cleaner break and could carry it a much longer way. It looks like the other Jerry Robb Award wanted is the one that's going to need that possible help. Would the speed be a little dulled off of the two-turn effort?
It's possible. I think that this is a very classy mare. I do love turnbacks at 7 furlongs. I just think that's a great angle. Route to sprint at 7. Award wanted last time. I didn't exactly have the best trip. She was pretty much 3-4 wide both turns. She was on a hard chase, and she got run down by a nice filly in a hybrid Eclipse. Her race in the Geisha, she got a perfect trip under Angel Cruz to save ground. She draws inside here. I wonder if that's the trip they're going to try to work out. Maybe sort of a pocket 3-hole trip and up the rail.
You got it. I think it could work. She got up the rail a couple races back and got it done. I go 3-1-2-7. Quite imagination back on Lasix. Ran well at a huge price. 7 furlongs, no issue. A couple of these other horses chasing through, trying to work through conditions, have ability. They just quite haven't shown what the award wanted and Response Time have shown. We'll see if those two hold form into the Fed. Hey, we're going to take a little commercial break, get back with the late pick 5. 5 more races to go.
And they're off.
All right, back for race 6 on this great Saturday card, the Pot of Gold Stakes Day card at Laurel Park. I'm Keith Houston with Dan Ullman from the Daily Racing Form. Dan does a great job. If you get a chance, pick up the form, go online, read his stuff. He's going to give you plenty of winners. Follow along. He'll make you some money. The Not for Love Stakes, a couple scratches, unfortunately, in this race. Take out the 4, always in a hurry. The 6, Al Loves Josie. The 7, Back in the Woods. And don't forget, race 6 kicks off the late pick 5. Tim Tulloch's going to have a play later for you. He had to adjust, had a few late scratches, so he's going to give you a ticket. We'll have that later on in the day. Eastern Bay, he's back off of a trip up to New York. What do you think?
Didn't run badly in the Tom Fool at all. Didn't break as sharp as sometimes he usually does. Worked out an inside, splitting horses down towards the rail trip. Those are just some good horses he was up against. He caught a muddy track. He seems to like that. He ran his usual Eastern Bay race. Of course, the emotional victory in the General George under William Humphrey will be back aboard again. He's a millionaire. His credentials speak for himself. These scratches hurt him a little bit, perhaps, because he's usually a one-run closer. In the George, Humphrey got him close to the pace. I wonder if that's going to be the key in this spot for Eastern Bay. I think that Eastern Bay is the horse to beat. I talked to Lynn Cash earlier this week, and interestingly enough, he said this is a little quick back for him. For a guy that runs back, it seems, every 2 weeks. He ran in the Tom Fool off 2 weeks rest. He just thinks this spot was just so irresistible, he had to run him here.
No doubt. I mean, he's going to be an awfully short price now. I'm going to say in that 3 to 5 range, maybe even.
Now with the scratches, Alex Josie was going to take money.
Now with these scratches, he's going to be awfully short. Okay, and he showed that speed off the layoff in the General George. I think that race in New York with that inside draw, you see that a lot of times. The horses just kind of suck back out of there. They just quite don't get comfortable. But still churning on, back on Lasix today. Clearly makes him the horse to beat. The horse has gone over $1 million. Horse that intrigues me is the 10, Breezy Gust. What are your thoughts? A little slow break last time against Whitty, but this is a guy, he's got a good little backstory to him.
It's an interesting backstory. We talked about it earlier. You could talk to it again. He was pulled up in the Maryland Sprint in 2021. He was eased again. It was almost as if he was saying, listen, I don't really want to do this anymore. He does want to do this because he's back in his best form. He just fired 90 in his last 2 races. And his last race against Whitty, he ran really well. Maybe the break wasn't there, but he got first run on a pace setter. He had to work very hard to finally overhaul that horse. And then Whitty, who we know is a stakes quality horse, ran him down. These scratches might hurt Eastern Bay. They help Breezy Gust.
I agree completely. And the 2-back try was very good. The win against Easy Day, who recently ran a 97 buyer up at Parks. That's a really hot horse up there. So, yeah, I think the scratches definitely help him. He could be on or near it. This one horse is $1 million to 1. Arden's lucky to be, but that horse has got a turn of foot. If he breaks, He hasn't really broke cleanly his first 3. I think he could take them a long, long way at a big, big price. So I'm going to key around the 5 and the 10. Anybody else you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Coastal Mission a little bit
okay.
because this is a horse who's, he likes to win races. He's 5 of 9. He's never been off the board. He's won 3 in a row, and he's a horse that has speed. He's also not just a Charlestown horse. Right. He's won at Laurel in the past. If you think Arden's lucky to be his overmatched but will make the lead, there's a chance Coastal Mission is sitting second or third ready to pounce.
Exactly. Proven over this racetrack back a few years. So let's go to the 7. So we can't really come up with a big price in there. What about race 7, Nimitz class? I was talking to Frank Vespi a little bit on his radio show this morning about this race. And Nimitz class, he's kind of reminding me a little bit of like a Paige McKinney, right? The Pennsylvania bred, not the claim type, but the way he's kind of developed, man.
And he's developed with distance. He was always an okay sprinter, but he is perfect in dirt routes, 3 for 3. Toledo gave him a great ride in this race, the John B. Campbell, where he realized there wasn't a lot of speed. He got to the front, he put Ain't de Beer Cold away, and he sprints on home. Now, maybe Nimitz class isn't going to get that sort of situation. Here doesn't need it. He won from off the pace 2 starts back, but it's worth noting he did get his career best Buyer's speed figure off a perfect trip situation. Maybe our nation on parade, who could have been compromised just a little bit by that pace, can do better at the mile. Right. Shorter might not be better for Nimitz class at this point in his career. He's just too tough for me to deny.
Agreed. Just the way he did it last time. I know that track played a little speed favoring on the 18th, and he took a little bit of the initiative, went and got it. He took a lot more play than I thought he was going to get in that race. Bet down to 9-5, handled that pressure. I think he can kind of sit a few lengths back because I think a horse like Hello Hot Rod and another interesting horse I want you to touch upon. I know you don't have this horse in your picks. What are your thoughts on American Patrol?
He's the most interesting horse in the race to me because I talked to Cal Lynch a couple of weeks ago. He had this horse entered at Parks and scratched him. He said this horse had a major excuse for the Kris Kringle. Not only was it a wet track, this horse can't stand up on wet tracks, but he stumbled at the start. He threw his shoe. He grabbed himself pretty bad. Throw that race out. If you throw that race out, you're left with a 97 Buyer's speed figure going a mile, a horse with tactical speed, and he still has upside. He's very interesting. I might have a little bit of remorse not having him in there.
You're saving a little exacta, throw him in underneath, or maybe a little exacta box there. Our national parade, we touched upon American Dioro, a horse that I've kind of grown to be a fan of here, and obviously rooting for the smaller operation. Ricky Silman, Laura Lee Glasser got back to the winner's circle at this distance. He likes the mile. I think he can handle the fast track. Is he going to get the right kind of flow and how much traffic? She likes to save ground. Will he have to deal with that? I think he might have to and work a trip, say, from mid-turn home.
Late closers always have to work a trip, but Laura Lee seems to have the magic touch with American Dioro because in both of these wins going a mile, she was able to save ground at just the right times, and she beat Zabracadabra last time out. Zabracadabra is a horse that was coming into that race in sensational form, with something like odds on. At this one-turn mile, American Dioro is very interesting. Does he have to step up his game against a horse like Nimitz class? Sure, but it's nice to know he's breaking from the inside, he can save ground, and he likes the mile.
Agreed. I think he'll draft into position.
Yeah.
Let's see, and he's got a good grinding kick. He was very determined. That race he won at a mile back in November, drove by 7 against an okay field. That was ultra impressive for me. I go 5-1-6-4. You're 5-4-1-3, and race number 7. Let's turn to the 8th as we move right along. 40 minutes to post time here at Laurel Park. The Beyond the Wire Stakes. Enough focus turns these next 2 races to the 3-year-olds. We're leading on with the fillies and the boys, trying to head towards Preakness Week, obviously. Beyond the Wire, key scratch, taking out the 1 Pharaoh's Baby Gal.
Because that takes out speed, and Brittany had basically said Pharaoh's Baby Gal's kind of a catch-me-if-you-can type of horse. It'll be interesting to see what we get from Cairo Sugar, the number 7, the horse that upset the Maddie May last time out for trainer Alan Bedard. That was a 1-turn mile at Aqueduct. She showed a lot of speed in that race. She had to deal with the shoe repair in the paddock. She shrugged that off with no problem. Bedard didn't seem that interested in really making the front. They'll take it if they give it to her.
Right.
They might give it to her here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You're not going to get 27 to 1,
no.
Unfortunately, on Cairo Sugar. I focus around the 3, Lady Lowry, one of my better bets for the day. We have a video of that race that you drew up here from the 15th of February down at Turfway Park. This is a horse, I believe, eclipsed thoroughbreds and some other owners bought into after that debut run. A little bit of trouble in that maiden special weight event, but comes back here, doesn't miss a beat, prompting a dual 3 wide, and kind of won. Not as she pleased, but visually impressive.
Very visually impressive. The figure is solid with these horses. 71. She has all the upside potential in the world, and stretching out from 6.5 to a mile. Maybe she's the horse that just goes to the front in here. If I'm Jack Gilligan, I probably just try to send her, figuring she has the pedigree to handle dirt and to get the mile. She's by Munnings. Her dam's a half-sister to Speitster, who won the Dwyer and is a very successful sire. And this is the family of Dan Smartley, the won the Breeders' Cup Distaff. She is a very dangerous horse in here. I'd have to use her as well.
Yeah, I love horse, especially younger horses that deal with big fields. A 11 horse field in debut, a 12 horse field last time. Little trouble in debut, but kept on going. That shows this horse has got some sense to her. I think she's going to be awfully tough. Jack Gilligan up for the ride. The 4 Happy Clouds, I see her kind of definitely being a factor midway through, maybe top of the lane. She's a little bit of a sprinting lean on the bottom side for me. Can she sustain at this longer run?
The mile concerns me. I think she's the only 3-time winner in the field. That gives her a little bit of an advantage, but she is stepping up in class. Her last race, yes, she was 4 wide, and she got beat by a rail skimmer and a pretty decent one in Liquidator, but I thought she had every chance to win that race, and she couldn't seal the deal at 5.5. Maybe stretching out, she'll show a little bit of speed. She's got to prove it to me against this tougher competition.
Yeah, I think, Cara Sugar, maybe she's shown kind of what she is. I'm interested to see if Lady Lowry can go ahead and take another step.
And another, the old Andy Beyer angle. Great to see horses show improved speed second time out. We saw that from Lady Lowry.
She was sharp out of the gate, and it was like at any time the rider wanted to go, he could go. Let's go to the 9th, the Private Term Stakes. Great racehorse, Charlie Hadry back in the day. We've got a field of 8 in a race I talked to you earlier in the week about. It was very, very difficult for me to line this field, so I think Circling the Drain might be a little bit lower than what I have them. I don't want to take less than 3 to 1 on anybody in here.
I don't want to take any. You're absolutely right, because six horses can win this race, maybe even 7. We're both going to go with Circling the Drain in here, and I think a lot of folks. I think Timmy even asked you yesterday, "What's up with the blinkers on off the wind? If it ain't broke, don't fix it." I generally agree with that statement, but when you watch the stretch runner Brittany Russell's last race with Circling the Drain, this horse was odds-on, made the lead at the 3/16 pole, looked like he was going to draw away by 10. To me, he lost focus.
Exactly.
Maybe he didn't. That's the key to this race. If he's just that horse, he's probably not going to win. But I think the blinkers are going to move him forward.
And hence I was a little with the line. It was like, okay, Feeling Woozy's beaten this guy. Only scored twice. Yes, he is 2 for 2 at a mile and 16th. But I'm like, how low can I make him? I don't know. I don't think I would have gone any lower than 9 to 2 overall. In this particular field, but I do think he got the loafing a little bit once he got the lead. I think he'll be poised to make a good run, because we talked about before the show. I think there's going to be a convergence of some speed. Some horses kind of get caught up together about the 3/8 pole. Coffee with Chris, the winner of the Miracle Wood, moves outside. Let's look at a video, though, first of Register, a horse that you have second.
Register earned a 93 Beyer speed figure, a very impressive number in this race. His 3rd lifetime start and his first time going a route of ground to 1-turn mile. He broke inward at the start, but quickly recovered, and then got involved in a personal match race with this 22 to 1 shot. He just won the Bob. I really had a little bit of trouble analyzing this race. The figure is impressive. Where are the other horses? No one else is running in this race. It makes me wonder whether they're just 2 superior performances, or maybe this was just a bad field. I do think Register is an up-and-comer. David Donk likes the way this horse is developing. Distance won't be a problem.
Yeah, look, it's half to a pretty promising horse at 2, Higher Oak. And if I'm not mistaken, that Beyer, the 93, and this horse has made jumps of 12 points and 15 points in the Beyer. Obviously, the talent is there. And I think later the races might have been faster than older allowance types, like starter allowance types. Which, so for a 3-year-old right now, I like that. So maybe that holds true. That figure of 93 is spot on. We shall see. I do think, though, he's going to have to deal with a little bit more adversity up front.
Well, he has to, because Coffee with Chris is here, and I talked to John Salzman before the race, and the question before the Miracle Wood was, could the horse get a mile? Well, the horse can get a mile. He did very well to do so. The mile and a 16th doesn't worry John as much as this post position. He hates the post, and he hates the fact that he's picking up 6 pounds. I think Jamie Rodriguez is going to hustle Coffee with Chris out of there, try to sit 2nd or 3rd without losing too much ground. If they want to give him the lead, great. The key to this pace scenario, to me, is how great is Nate, who, of course, comes out of a non-try in the Gotham, although he wowed people with his performance nonetheless.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, unseated, the rider stumbled, unfortunately, there, but visually, without the rider, it was good. So we'll see if he can kind of, again, his style has been stalk and kind of move into it, sprinting at the 2 turns now. Will he, and what did he get out of that last race as well? Can he go and continue against the likes of this field? We have to talk about the 6 Hayes Strike for Kenny McPeak, shipping up here. First time Lasix going synthetic to dirt, has faced the right kind at the fairgrounds and Churchill.
Multiple graded stakes placed at Churchill Downs. Distance isn't going to be an issue. If you believe this pace is going to be fast, he's going to run. I talked to Kenny about this horse's last race. A, he hated the polytrack. B, he said the ship up to the fairgrounds was disaster. This horse didn't like it at all. Draw a line through that race. McPeak adding Lasix over the years is a big, big angle. He likes this horse a lot. He says he wins here. There is a 100-point Kentucky Derby qualifying points race in this horse's future.
Wow. And we saw what Race Kane did. You go out of the gun runner up to win the Gotham and just absolutely galloped, got a good trip, and got it done. But Hayes Strike to me looks like that grinding type, as I mentioned before. I do think this pace will get a little contested around that final turn. He might be 4 or 5 out of him, and Caramano's riding the hair off him, but he's got that grinding style that I think could work against this group. Let's wrap it up here in the 10th. It's a good look at those stakes, Dan. 10th race, beaten claimers, fillies and mares, never won 3. Morning line, favorite, slight favorite, Backstreet Affair, Queen of Class. These 2 will take the abundance of money in here. You've got the 6 on top. I'm going to go for a little price and raise your game. I think this one might rally into it with J-Rod. I don't trust the favorites at these short of a prices.
I think that's a fair point. I actually like your pick in here because Backstreet Affair does have a question to answer. It was kind of an easy pace last time out, clearing off to the lead. Won easily under a confident ride. I think it was better than the half-length margin indicates. Queen of Class got just a beautiful ride from Humphrey last time out. Traveling well, altered course up an open rail corridor and shot on through. Usually don't like playing horses coming off of perfect trips, and now there's a barn change and a little bit of a layoff. So maybe you're on the right price.
And a little bit of a drop as well. Not a higher percentage barn, but you're right. The way that she won it, the last 2 handling the trouble, interesting little drop down.
Coming up to a 2 life to a 3 life, right?
Yeah. That could be it. 6-4-1-2 in the 10th. I go 3-7-4-6. Your little bailout horses. The 3 and the 7 hold the price. Real quick, best bet and value plays.
Let's take a look at my best bet. If I can even remember my best bet. Race number 2 is my best bet.
Coming early.
Shackleford County. I think the scratch of Targe hurts this horse. This horse has won at a mile and a 16th in the past. I believe stretches out to a mile with the right race flow.
Okay, my best bet. We're going to go to the Beyond the Wire, correct?
Yes.
The 3. Number 3, Lady Lowry with Jack Gilligan and William Walden coming up. I think synthetic to dirt, not going to be an issue today. She looked ultra sharp. She looks talented to me. I think she'll go ahead and stretch out here at the 1-turn mile. We've got a couple value plays.
A couple value plays as well. Race number 3. Number 4, I'm Getting There. And I'm Getting There is just a pace pick. Curious pace play, as our old friend Jim Kachulis would say. This is a horse stretching out in distance. Has won at a 1-turn mile in the past. I think he can get to the lead. Your horse is very interesting.
Yeah, we both got shots in here. Maybe key around them and catch the exact to start with a bang. She needs to lay a little bit closer. She dealt with that trouble last time out. Ran up behind a wall of horses. But is she going to be a victim of the flow? We don't know. But, Dan, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for being here.
Always fun.
Great Saturday card. Up to Dave Rodman for scratches and changes.
Good luck.